Hello and welcome to A-Level History and what you can expect from the course in Year 12 and Year 13. So I'm Mr. Forsyth and I've put this PowerPoint together to try and give you a little bit of insight into what you can expect and what we are kind of looking for from a student taking A-Level History. If you go through the PowerPoint, you will see a symbol for an audio, and if you press play, I will talk you through in a bit more detail some of the slides. My email will be at the end of the PowerPoint if you would like any further details or information. Thank you, enjoy. So the course content of A-Level History, which you'll be seeing in Year 12 and Year 13, is broken up into 4 different parts. In the first year, Year 12, you'll be looking at the first 2 bullet points, and in the second year, Year 13, you'll be looking at the second 2 bullet points you can see on the page. So the first topic you study is In Search of the American Dream from 1917 to 1996, really looking at how America changed following the First World War all the way through to the 1990s. The other topic you'll look at is Britain and how it lost and gained an empire during 1763 to 1914, and it really looks at how the British Empire grew and declined in this period with countries such as America, Australia, Egypt, India, and it really covers how Britain were so dominant across the world at the time. Moving into Year 13, you'll be looking at South Africa from apartheid state to rainbow nation, and this really looks at how the systemic racism in South Africa kind of develops and changes during this period, and how they had a very split apartheid state to something a bit more inclusive and towards equality, let's say. And in Year 13, alongside your study of South Africa, you move to look at your coursework, and this is more of an independent task, but it's based around the Salem witch trials, which is covering an event that took place in the late 1600s in America, where a number of women men were tried for being witches and ultimately executed as a result. And it looks at kind of the reasons for why this happened, and perhaps give an understanding of the events occurring around it to allow this climate to come to fruition. So really simply, the course structure is broken up into 5 50-minute lessons per week in Year 12 and Year 13. In Year 12, you'll have USA for 2 lessons and Empire for 3 lessons. Your coursework in Year 13 will be 2 lessons and South Africa will be 3 lessons. Now we would expect, and I'll talk about this later, that aside from your 5 50-minute lessons, you would also be doing a number of hours of independent study and research around the topic too. So it's not just confined to those 5 50-minute slots. So on the previous slide, you would have seen information around the specification, assessment, and the course. Hopefully you've been able to read through that and just get an understanding of what it's suggesting. If you would like more information, again, feel free to contact it later. We'll talk about the lessons and how you may expect what you can expect to see in a lesson in A-Level History. Now, it will vary depending upon your teacher and what content you're covering at the time, but really there's a type of style of lesson you expect to see in history, and essentially it's very sort of knowledge rich, where we're trying to inspire you to be interested, to question, but to really think critically as well. Now this could come in the form of independent tasks, group discussion, debates, and we'd like to encourage students to really be making the most of the lesson time, contributing, because ultimately if you move to university to study history, you take seminars and lectures, and in your seminars you really need to contribute. So we're trying to develop those skills where you can confidently discuss your opinion and articulate your argument. It's a really important part of the lessons. Now, as I said before, the time we have in lesson is really for the teacher to tell you what you need to know and for question and debate for your understanding. And then your independent time might be to be writing essays, it might be to do further research, and that's really important time for your studying as well. Now over the next few slides you're going to see some examples of a lesson that I created and used for Year 12 during this lockdown period. It was very similar to lessons that we have normally, and the structure you'll see is very similar to the tasks that they can complete as well. So please have a look through those and see what you think. The first task is a do it now task as the students enter the classroom. You then have some further independent tasks and a bit more discussion as well. So our expectations at APA in the history department are really for the best historians to be taking A-level history. Now, our expectation is that students are wanting to learn more, wanting to discover and wanting to question. We would like students to be interested in history. If you're not interested in history, it's going to be a very difficult course. So the idea is if you've enjoyed history through your Key Stage 3, GCSEs, then this could be a subject for you, requiring that you've got a grade 6 at GCSE history. So it's very important that we have students that firstly are interested in taking history, but secondly have the ability as well. Now, a grade 6 at GCSE history is proof that you are able to articulate yourself in an argument, you're able to unpick sources and interpretations, and you're able to write clearly. Now, a grade 6 is evidence of that, and that's exactly what we're expecting for students to take A-level history. As I said before, a clear interest is really important, but also a drive and ambition to become the best horse historian you can be. Now, this isn't just in lesson time. It's not just what the teacher tells you to do. It's also about you doing the work independently too, whether it's reading a book, whether it's further research, whether it's tackling practice questions from previous past papers. We want to see that independence and that kind of independent study and research from our students who take A-level history too. So with that in mind, what can you do over the summer to prepare for A-level history, to put yourself in the best position to take the subject? Now, for those of you who are part of APA already, from year 11, you'd have been asked to complete some summer projects or projects that kind of over different subjects to prepare for A-level history. If you are new to APA, you would still be asked to take part in these independent learning projects. In history, we have 3 different types. Now, you don't have to do the projects to be part of A-level history, but it is definitely recommended. So firstly, there's a knowledge-based project which was created about the empires of Spain, Ottomans and the British. Now, this would really prepare you for the British Empire topic and help you build some context and understanding around that subject. The reading project is something completely different, and it's a wider reading task based upon the Holocaust. Now, this is something to get you thinking about historical text interpretation and kind of thinking about how we can use research to better our knowledge, and also just to inspire some interest. You might not have studied the Holocaust in much detail during Key Stage 3 or Key Stage 4, so it's an opportunity to really develop that, and it's a really interesting book. The writing task, now this is based around the American dream, and this gets you thinking about the topic itself, but also developing your writing skills and evidence for us of how well you write. Now, again, this would set you up well for Year 12 with the American Dream topic too. Now, my strong suggestion would be, you've got quite a long time over the summer holidays, perhaps pick 2 or even all 3 of these independent learning projects and complete them before Year 12 to put you in the best position to do well, because ultimately you want to be in the best position to do well in Year 12 and then Year 13 going into your A-levels. A few basic things you can come prepared with on the first week of school. We highly recommend that you read these 2 books below, Jeremy Paxman Empire and Rosemary Rees Searching for Rights and Freedoms in the 20th Century. These are really good context reading, and for my topic of the Empire, I would expect all the students to read this book. It's not that difficult, but it does give you really good information and knowledge to help you out with the topic. In regards to equipment needed, you would need 2 Ark Sleeper folders, one for the Empire topic and one for the American topic, plastic wallets to put your sort of lessons and information resources in, maybe some dividers to divide those subtopics, and lined paper would be really useful, obviously with pens and some kind of pencil case of some sort. We do have things at school, but we would expect a year 12 student in A level to be able to kind of resource themselves and have themselves prepared with everything they need going into year 12. Like I said before, any questions, please feel free to email me. My email is on the previous slide at the bottom of the page. More than happy to answer any questions or give you any information about the independent learning projects or anything else about the course. Thank you for having a look through. I look forward to seeing you and meeting you next year.